Well, hi subscribers. I'm just going to make a little video here, giving you a bit of an update about what's happening at the moment with the Max. We're proceeding as expected. I have amassed a lot of the components that I need to make the upgrade. My main instrument panel has been to the laser cutters now for a couple of weeks. We had quite a bit of drama with the drawings because I don't actually own an AutoCAD program, so we had to work our way through that. I did the drawings in Corel, which I do have, and then converted them out to DWGs and DXF files, but unfortunately we had a number of issues with the dimensions on them. So after we went through, I ended up going over to the laser cutter people and just getting them to redo some of the drawings. And I took in the components themselves to show them what I was making them off. No, cut that. Yeah, so after I amended my drawings, we went back and were able to come to a reasonable outcome. So they've got them now. A lot of the panels are already cut. We're just waiting on Monday to get them all bent up. So once that's done, I'll have them here, and that'll be the next part of this section here. I'll show you the components all there, and then once I put them all together. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you some of the parts that I've bought. Now there's only one manufacturer at the moment who's selling bits and pieces for Max, and I dare say within the next 12 months there's going to be a heck of a lot more. Sismo in Italy are the people who I bought most of my components from. Absolutely brilliant to deal with. I have bought stuff from them before. The clocks in my current MIP, which I'm about to sell, the gold ones were and have been absolutely fantastic. I only had one issue with them, and that was the fact that you could not connect them up to the clock buttons. Probably could have if you'd have worked around it, but I didn't want to do that. So that was my only issue with those, but apart from that, the quality of the clocks was absolutely outstanding. So now I'm going to go through and show you some of the components that I have bought. So I'll just grab the camera and we'll have a look. Now this, don't look at this panel, that's off the NG. This panel here is the hydraulic pressure gauge, which is an flight illusions gauge, and that was out of my NG, and that will be going into the base panel of the lower ECAS of the Max. Now these are some of the components that I have bought from Sismo. This is a stab out of trim button, beautifully manufactured, and I had all of the annunciators for the main instrument panel made up. This is one of them. This is the takeoff config annunciator. There we've got a nice little back panel, all come with the wires attached to them and everything ready to hook up. Beautifully manufactured. Now this little piece here, especially nice, is the landing gear panel, which goes above the main panel where the undercarriage handle is, and this is just ready to bolt straight in. So another nice little way that they've done things there. These will all come off, and of course the panel is then screwed into the main panel itself. Undercarriage handle, good and bad. Beautifully manufactured. Hardware wise, you can't fault it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Got the receptacles there ready to hook in. However, the handle at the end there is wrong. On the real aircraft, that component there, the wheel, as was the original NG, the last model NG, this part of the panel here is not metal. This is all part of the one extrusion made in fiberglass or a type of resin there. So what's happening here is that I will be pulling the shaft out, taking that section off there. I've already ordered a replacement wheel for it, and what I'll do is I'll mount that into the fiberglass or the resin, and then drill and tap the hole at the end here and put it into there to make it more like the real thing. So that's only a small thing, but I just don't understand why they wouldn't have stuck to the more accurate. Now coming down to here, we have our beautiful little ISFDs, very nicely made. Now I must say I'm just very surprised at the quality of these. These are excellent quality. Again, beautiful little PCB boards. The buttons all lovely, well made, and they're a joy, and I'm very excited to put them in the sim. We're going to go into a little bit of PC side of it. So I'm going to show you this PC here. This is the second PC that I use for my graphics, which ran the three PFDs, or the three computers that ran the PFDs and the NDs, and also the middle, no sorry, yeah, that's all it ran, was the three PFDs. So what we've done is we've now gone over to a 4 monitor system, which is what the Max has over the NG. So I needed basically a card which had the 4 outputs on it. So this is the one that I bought. It's a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, and it has 4 outlets on it. It also allows me to, unfortunately these boards in here are only GT710s, which were fine for the NG, but unfortunately a little bit lacking in the driver department, and also yeah, well basically the driver department I wanted to get up to date a little bit, and the GTX will allow me to not worry about throughput or anything like that, so I've sort of future-proofed myself for a while there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and show you the installation and how I'm going to go about that. So without any further ado, I'm going to get to it. Okay, so this is our new video card that we're going to change and put into this machine. And as I explained before, the reason for doing this is, and I'll show you in a second. As I said, the Max has 4 monitors, which I've purchased already, the 15-inch monitors, and instead of the NG, which has 3 monitors, 2 17s or 19s and a 15 in the centre. So this time we have 4 15s all hooked up together. So I had a bit of a search around and I found this nice little video card at a quite reasonable price, a little bit over 200 bucks, and I've purchased it. It's a Galax model, which is not the best brand on the market, but it has 4 outputs on it. So it has a HDMI, there's the HDMI, DisplayPort, and 2 DVIs. DVIs, yeah. So this is what we're going to put in this machine. We're going to take out the current cards, which are 2 GT710s. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's get on with it. So you will note a couple of things here. That's the installation done, by the way. Number one, when you go to replace a video card like this, you should always ensure that you have an adequate power supply. Now this is a 700 watt and will more than adequately run this video card. It'll, some people say it would be adequate for a RTX 2080 or 2080 Ti, but I think when you really have a look at the required power for those high-end video cards, it would be better to go to a higher power supply. I actually have the two RTX 2080 Ti's running in my other machine here, and I have a 1200 watt power supply in that, and of course you're never going to have any issues with that. So I would honestly recommend 1000 watt at least for those big powerful video cards. You'll also note that when I was taking those old cards out, they were in two single slots, two single video slots, and when I took the second one out, there was a vacant slot left there. Now don't ever leave those slots empty, because unfortunately computers contain a lot of heat and it attracts things like cockroaches and mice and stuff like that. I know that when I was in the industry, we had a lot of, and we lived in the farming areas of outback Queensland, we had a lot of computers come in, and we saw the damage that rats had done by getting inside computers where vacant slots were left. So never ever leave that open, always cover them up. My cables are nicely put away there now. I've got it connected, so the next thing we have to do is start it up and get it running. So let's do that. So as you're seeing here, this is not happening because of our update to our video card. It's actually a Windows update which is occurring in the background. So we'll just let it go through and do its thing before we go in and check things and update our driver version. It'd be very nice to be running one single card rather than two separate cards. Okay, so we're up and going now. So all we're going to do is connect to the internet, and we're going to download our drivers for this card. We come over here and we're looking at 10 series. So it's a 1050 Ti, and it's Windows 64-bit. Should be 419. Oh, it's updated already. Okay, and we want to save it as put it on the desktop, save it, and so that's it. Basically all we've got to do is download those drivers, install them, and we are ready to go. And then it's just a matter of plugging our video cards in when we get it back in the simulator, and it will be good. So what I'm also going to do here is, while I've got this PC in here and the other two, I'm going to go through, update all of their stuff, log in with ProSim to make sure I keep my license active, and then I'll just put these away for another month or two until we get our new Mac software and install that. So that's about it for this part of it. That's how easy it is to update the video cards. And the next section will be showing you the new MIP after I've picked it up from the laser cutters on Monday. So okay, on to the next bit. Well, hi viewers, sorry about the voice. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment.
Just a bit of an update on our panel situation. Here's our main instrument panel, which has all been laser cut now, ready to go. So all my other panels here are just copping an undercoat, and then they'll be ready for painting. As you can see, we've got the RAL 7011 down pat. All the painting on those side plates for the CDU are all done. So we're hoping now to keep motoring along. Had to get a few more panels made up. They were incorrectly cut. So we're just waiting on those to come back, and hopefully next week I should be able to have something to show, as in the way of fully constructed main instrument panel. So that's our panels at the moment, and we'll just I'll just put another little video on the end of this showing the panels when they're put together. Okay, so we're a fair way along now. We've got all the top panel on with the little bread basket there, which holds the paperwork, and our panels are all set in there. These panels, base panels. Got our CDUs sitting in just temporarily on the right hand side, but permanently on the left, and it's all looking pretty good now. I can start working on these panels now and getting them all sorted out and sitting properly in the whole frame. But now what I'm going to do is, now that everything is finished drilling and countersinking and all the rest of it, I'm going to pull it all apart and we'll deburr the whole thing and paint it. And then when we come back, we'll put it all back together, all finished, ready to go in the sim. Yeah, this is the overhead which I've taken out of the sim, made up a nice little unit that I can swivel around and access. So what I've done is I've taken the front panel off here, because two of the switches are going out of here, the two outside switches, the leading light switches that is. This panel here, I've removed the gauge from it, which is the EGT gauge, and now I'm going to make up a little steel blank which will go over here and paint it the same colour and blend it in. So there's also another panel up here which I have to modify and put another annunciator in, and I think that's just about it. I was thinking, because I have flight illusion gauges in my MIP, I was thinking that it might have been nice to take these Simwell gauges out, sell them, and then put the go all over to Flight Illusions, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to recoup enough money out of them, and they cost me an absolute fortune. There is nothing wrong with the gauges, they're beautiful gauges, but just that I would have liked to have stuck with one system, not two. But anyway, it looks like they'll be going back in, so that's the update on the overhead. The rear overhead's got a few changes to go as well, which I'll show you a little bit later on. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was the throttle quadrant. And again, I've got myself into some tricky situations here. I hunted around for quite a few months looking for throttle quadrants, and there were none out there for the Max. So I contacted Torsten from Cockpits for You and asked him. I had a current Cockpit for You version 3 Gold, and I asked him if it was possible to do the conversion over to the Max. And he did reply to me. He's a very nice fellow. Anyway, he replied to me and said, yes, but... Sorry, he said... yes, it could be done, but the max throttle was actually a little bit different in width, by about a centimetre, I believe. And also, you know, you'd need some extra parts, and he hadn't done any yet, and, you know, it was quite a chore to do so. So I was sort of left up in the air, and I scoured around, and there was nothing else available. And Then I spoke to a good friend of mine, Gwyn, from Aero Sim Solutions in Western Australia, in Perth, Balladura, and I asked him what he thought about the whole situation. Well, Gwyn had a throttle quadrant that had been left over from a sale, and Gwyn was interested in doing a one-off for me only. So we got our heads together, firmed up on a price, and he has started to build me a 737 MAX throttle quadrant. Very much R&D for him, and all brand new because he's never done a MAX before. So we've gone through and got all our photos from the original aircraft photos that are on the internet and made it up from there. And then Gwyn's been keeping a little bit of a video log, a photo log on the forums, and he's an absolute perfectionist, so I couldn't have gone to a better guy to do my throttle for me. So here's a couple of photos that Gwyn has given to us as progress photos. So that's the throttle quadrant. We're hoping to have it finished by about August. It's a fully motorised throttle. Just about everything is motorised, fully backlit, the whole works. So it's going to be a beautiful piece of gear. I have now bought all of my panels for the MIP, including all of the panels that are associated with the lower MIP. The screen that was in the bottom is now gone, and there's a small panel there and a gauge. So that'll be all hooked up, and getting very close. I've got another new main instrument panel being laser cut at the moment, and once that's done, then it's a matter of putting it all together. My panels will arrive from Sismo in the next week, so that'll be all finished, and hopefully I can start painting and getting to the finished process. So that's about where we're up to at the moment. I've got a lot of work to do inside the cockpit once we get the MIP finished and wired and put back in. And there's going to be a whole refurbishment done in there, paint-wise as well. Inside the sim room, we're repainting it, and we're putting a whole new big graphic on the front room to represent the new airline running the MAX. And we'll have it, I'm hoping, the whole lot finished by about Christmas time, and the cockpit ready to fly by about August. So that's where our update is at the moment. So until next time, the next one hopefully will be showing you a finished MIP, all functional and running, and I might even have my throttle by then as well. So until next time, thanks for dropping by and seeing what's going on, and we'll catch up next time. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye for now.